itinerary, Alberto?
Yes, I got the ticket last week. I'm staying for 2 weeks from the Friday, arriving on Friday the 12th, I think, and leaving on I think it's 2 weeks. I stay for 2 weeks, so I'm leaving the 26th. Yeah, from the 12th to the 26th.
Okay, excellent, good.
Any many people coming?
Some are definite, like Vincent and Hang, and at the end of the time, the other Vietnamese, and some, I think, like Anne, are still considering, and some.
Yes, I think Pina is too. We're trying to maybe sort out some joint travel arrangements. She's more comfortable having somebody with her. So we shall know soon and let you know.
I know it's easier for her to travel with Roti, but to combine it with you is a little more complicated.
Much more. We'll see what we can do. Yeah, I'm certainly aiming to come, but we'll let you know. Would love to come.
Yeah.
Would love to come.
Do your best.
Yes, exactly. You know, there are a few things on this end that need to be waited on. Anyway, I'd love to be there. Really love to. Sarah, you sent something, I think, via the DSG website the other day. I think it was it a list of people or a list of dates and what's happening? The one I got just kept flashing on me. It never stayed still so long enough to look at it.
Maybe we'll chat there later. Ajahn,
Okay.
I think he's here. Sawadika,
Oh,
Ajahn.
good.
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ครับ
Sawadika,ท่านอาจารย์
Can you hear me?
อาจารย์สวัสดีครับ
Yes, we can hear you clearly, Ajahn. Yes.
Looking forward to see you all.
Yes we too looking forward to seeing you
Yes, indeed.
Alberto just mentioned he's got his
sure.
ticket now as well.
I will not be in Bangkok on the 12th, 13th, and 14th.
I think he knows that he can have a bit of rest after his trip and have some informal discussions with us. So that'll be fine for everyone. I put the schedule on DSG so everyone knows the dates.
Yeah, I know.
And at the end of the discussion last week, I can see Azita is here. Azita asked a question about rupas. Azita, would you like to continue your topic?
I'm not very well at the moment, and so I've got a mouth ulcer, so I'd prefer not to do much talking.
Anyway, I'll just briefly summarize in case Ajahn would like to add more or anyone else would like to ask more. At the end of the discussion, Azita asked about the meaning of rupa as being molested or deformed, rupati in Pali, which rupa comes from. And we talked about how rupas are oppressed or burned or destroyed, different from namas, and how the four primary rupas, which all the other rupas depend on, actually destroy each other, burn each other, or condition each other, and to fall away at each moment. And I think this was an interesting point, and we were going to discuss a little bit more about it. Namas can't be burnt, but rupas can be burnt or destroyed or soaked by water, affected by the wind. Anyone have anything further to point about this, or John, I think is ready to talk more.
I think that can depend each other by itself, but it's not the moment to understand the truth of it at all. That's why we would go little by little away from this moment, what is there, which is very, very subtle. No one can make sati or awareness to be there to understand the truth of it, even it's there. That's why I think that we listen to whatever is now appearing as much as they can be able to understand it. But I think that if we think a lot further down, deeper and deeper, can it bring about the understanding of this moment, or just continue to follow it little by little, on and on and on, endlessly? Because whoever read the Tipitaka cannot understand each word so clear, depending on the point that the Buddha taught about the depth of whatever is there, as rupa and citta and cetasika. But just to understand what is there now. Otherwise, if there's no beginning to understand the reality which experiences now and that which is experienced, how can there be the understanding of what we have learned so much a lot about the details? That's why it is always hidden, because of the lopa is interested in other things, like what is that and what is that and what is that, and the I is there. That's why even right now or any moment in daily life, there must be the latent tendency and the very, very subtle attachment after seeing, hearing, on and on, so much in a day, more and more added and added. And even what is there now cannot be known. That's the way it is. That's why the path leading to realization of the truth has to be so very subtle. Who knows that the understanding of the nature of reality right now, which is not very often, which is hard to arise, is only way to understand the truth of it, which is hidden even right now, all the time in life. So that's why Buddha taught about the path, which is so very subtle. Who knows, this moment of understanding only is the way to move just a little from ignorance to understand what is there, little by little, from hearing, considering. Even right now, we talk about Nama. Is it known? Does it appear well? And Rupa, it's there now all day. Hardness, sound, and everything, unknown all the time. That's why the more clinging to the story or that which couldn't be realized at all. For example, the Rupa hurt each other, destroy one another, and so on. See, who knows that? But now, that which is seen is just a kind of a reality. A kind of a reality. It means that the truth is right there now. The seeing and that which is seen. And we follow the word. The seeing sees that which is seen. But what about now? What is the characteristic of the reality which sees? And what is the truth of that which is seen? If it's not developed now, little by little, it carry on to other things, politics, or whatever, medicine, or even what the book said about this all the time. So I think that as much as we can understand is that which is now appearing, the characteristic of that which cannot be taken for anything at all. And in life, not just now, any moment, it's hidden what is there as its truth. Even hardness is hidden of its nature, of that which is conditioned to arise and follow it instantly. Cannot be taken that I'm touching a glass or something like that at all. That's why I think that we can understand as much as can condition moment of understanding the truth of what is there, not the details that we had to try so long, so much to understand it, because it doesn't appear. Even that which appears now, so sudden, gone, instantly. So how can there be moment of seeing the danger of ignorance that it's there almost in a day? So I think that, to me, that this moment is the precious moment, because it can be known little by little, moving away from ignorance and attachment to understand what is there by conditions, not at will and unexpected, because of understanding the point of listening to the truth that actually what is there now is not so precious, because it doesn't bring about the understanding of the truth at all. No matter what happens in life today, yesterday, tomorrow, exactly the same. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, no understanding again and again and again, and dream about the truth of it by words. But what about the characteristic of even just one word? No one, no sound, no thing. So what is there? It's real, it's there. It experiences, and it is experienced. To me, I think that I'd like to understand the words about the truth of this moment, but not the details like such and such and such. For example, now, what is going on is exactly the same as moment when it is moment of realization of the truth of what is there now. But the truth is hidden. That's why even the characteristic of that which just appear, not clear at all, because so many things, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and things, many, many things. So how can there be moment of understanding what is there? Because if there's not enough understanding of the difference between intellectual understanding and that which is now beginning to develop right understanding of that, which takes quite a long, long time, unexpected how long it is, because it has to be known in life years and years and years ago. So even the characteristic of that which is now is so very difficult to understand or to begin to be aware of it in life in a day as very normal, very usual. Because now seeing is taken for eye any moment in life. Hearing is taken for eye any moment in life. So how can there be moment of understanding it without seeing the moment of how much ignorance is there now of that which is now appearing? So the only way is to understand each word of the teaching and understand the depth of that word. For example, anatta, no one and no thing. Is it true enough in one's constraint? Is it there as it is? Not yet, but the truth is that. So in order to really understand the nature, the reality, the characteristic of that which is there so ancient, very, very short, gone. But it's always there by conditions. So when we use the term condition, we don't have to name what condition it is. But if you are interested in following the story of it, you learn by word what are the conditions now. See, for example, even right now, it's so simple. One is gone and the other arises, follow instantly, succeedingly, so very, very rapidly. Is that not anantrapachaya? No thought about it in word, but the understanding of the truth, that while there is always something all the time, from one to one to one to one in life, by its nature, pakatu panisya pachya, if we would say what pachya is there, but no need, because only word is not the moment of understanding the truth, and then understand what is meant by such and such name, which we know about the truth, but we don't use the name of the pachya. Chitta and cetasika arise together. So by way of pachya, if we use the term sahachata pachya, and chitta condition cetasika, and cetasika condition chitta by sampayutta pachya, because they cannot be separated at all. It has to depend on the other. But for rupa, it's only sahachata pachya when it's chitta sarupa and at the moment of birth. But at the moment, see, this is what is there. Just to understand what is there now as it is, little by little. Otherwise, we follow the word on and on and on, the whole Tipitaka, Vinaya, Sutta, Abhidhamma, and so on. But all about now. So when there is the understanding of the word about the truth of now, it conditions to be to attain to the characteristic with consideration more and more careful to understand that no one can change seeing not to be seen at all. It's there, so no one, it's there, it's there. See? So to me, I think that's the word I read in Tipitaka. I understand the meaning of it, and then I'm not interested to go too deeper to what is there of that word in the commentary from here and there at all, because it's new. Otherwise, one takes time thinking over it, and can there be the understanding of what is there now? So I think, as I have read and had some understanding of it, even it's a little or more, it doesn't matter as long as I don't just keep on thinking about it and try to have more understanding of the word, but of what is there that can be known. And this is the way I live. Because even now it's not known. So how much ignorance in it? So it let go. We desire to experience it or to know more about the details of it. Just for understanding. It's gone. See? And after hearing, learning, considering a lot about what is there in Tipitaka, it's not necessary at all. What is the most important, the most precious is this very moment to be understood. The word cannot help at all if one tries to think about it at that this moment. There is rupa, and what about the term? It destroy one another and so on and so on. And it's just that which is seen, not anything, not flower, not shoes. It's only hardness, or it is only that which is seen, or that which is all gone in a day. Otherwise, Lopa is there unseen. The master is there.
Mhm.
What condition moment of just wanting again, not this but that, from this to that.
Going out? Oh, right.
Yes, I think this is a very important point, Jan, and we're discussing a bit last week and about when one gets stuck or caught with the words. Of course, it's not the words that are the problem or the Tipitaka that's a problem, but the loba. So instead of loba for other daily objects, it's loba for chasing the meaning of the word, trying to work out the detail instead of understanding what appears. And it reminds me of the function of loba, which is sticking like meat in the pan. And this is what I was trying to convey last week with when I mentioned about being bogged down. It's like one's lost in the story, the detail about the words, the meaning, the details in the Tipitaka, and as you've stressed, forgets all about just understanding what appears now. So when reading, if it's not apparent or easily understood, it doesn't matter. The understanding can understand what is apparent, and it has to come back to this moment.
There is also on the other end, there is also the need for hearing the teachings. And when Ajahn explained about the rupa destroying each other, that also helps to not taking the one's own body for my body a little bit less than before hearing these details. So thank you, Ajahn, anyway, for giving us all the details, because everything helps. all the words that you are telling us are very helpful. Thank you.
And I think these points also, it shows more clearly the difference between namas and rupas, and how, because the namas cannot be destroyed by each other in this way, and they're not molested or affected by the wind and the rain in the way rupas are. So it helps for consideration. But having heard or having read, if it doesn't have meaning or doesn't make sense, then we can just move on. It's not important. Otherwise, there's the bondage again, being stuck with the loba.
That's right. Lopa is the second noble truth. So very, very subtle. It's there almost every moment, depending on the strength of it. So very weak or so very strong that it can be known. Depending on conditions, no selection at all. The truth is that to understand the moment of different level of sati, at moment of understanding is no one, it's sati. It's the moment of understanding what is said as the truth. And even there is such understanding, is it enough to condition the normal satipatthana in the day, right now, or anytime in life. That's why we can see the benefit, the most precious moment of understanding the path. So very subtle. It develops against the current of ignorance and attachment. That's why even we heard a lot, we understand enough to understand the characteristic of that which appears now by conditions, whether or not, how much understanding. But in a day, comparing to the moment of understanding, say, moving one's hand, eating, crying, laughing, and so on, if it has been known, it's there. Ignorance, attachment, and the idea of self. That's why seeing the danger of whatever arises and falls there, anicca, dukkha, anatta, it's not just only the word. The word is to be heard, to have some knowledge about the truth of it, but it's there all the time. And if there's just only a few moments of hearing and considering, not carefully, it's there all the time. Because not just one khanda, which is all khandas, it means that whatever arises, no matter inside or outside, is object of ignorance and attachment. That's why the path is so very subtle, very deep. It has to be just a little at a time, moving from intellect understanding to conditioned moment of awareness. Because of understanding condition set without right understanding, how can there be samma mata, samma titti of what is there as it is in life normally? And seeing the danger of ignorance and attachment, condition the moment of nothing is as precious as understanding. So Satipatthana doesn't have any envy of whatever is there, because the blessing, the highest one, is the understanding of the truth. Share it with the other. Appreciate it when there is the understanding, no matter how much, little or more. Because it's so very, very difficult. It's covered up in years and years ago, how to understand what is there, little by little, hearing, considering, understanding the precious of it, when it can be directly understood as it is. It's like just open up what is there, which is covered by ignorance and attachment. And it's so very, very hard because the accumulation is so strong, so very sticky, hard to open up and take it out away. It's like just the tinge which, as soon as we paint it on the cloth, it's there. So how can it get away? We get away. How can it be known? In order to have less ignorance and attachment in life, in samsara, not just only this life. That's why understanding the words of truth from the enlightenment, that can be the understanding of who's that person, which realize the truth much more than what is said. For those who can understand it, in order to be good friend to anyone who can understand the truth, the most precious thing. Even just one word from the moment of hearing, considering one word at a time, and then another word to understand the truth that actually, in truth, The world does not appear as it is. The reality which experiences the object right now doesn't have any shape, no smell, no taste at all. But is there no rupa? Is there at all? It's only that which experienced right now. See, the citta, the nama-dhamma themselves, itself, one by one, or all together, arising, but only one can be the object at a time. No word of sound, of sight, of smell, or taste, or hardness at all. At moment of realizing the nature of that, which experiences the object no matter what. That's why the Chittanupassana Satipatthana is not the Vedananupassana Satipatthana. See, they're all different. And they are there, only one at a time, and added up the details of so different conditioned reality, no matter is the color, what is seen, what is heard, what is smelled, in a moment, just a moment, and then gone, no one there, but feeling things by them, no one. So I is that feeling. I now remember all other Dhamma that Buddha taught a lot about the detail, but it depends on how much understanding of anyone which has been accumulated enough to understand how much unexpectedly. The truth is anatta. Even the moment of thinking about anything, trying to do anything, wish to do anything, they're all done. Arising and falling away in split seconds. So how long it will take to understand each one from hearing, considering, until it conditioned moment of begin to be aware of just one reality, which is there as usual in the day. Spirituality. That is the way to let go. Attachment, the second truth, with ignorance. Otherwise, there's no way at all. Samsara keeps on, no one there at all. Only 5 khandhas, and the dream about what is there as something all the time, and I all the time. In truth, nothing is there, all gone, no matter what is there now, or then, or anytime. What Pasya is now, see, then there is the understanding, and the word comes in Buddha. And if we just know the word, but not understanding the truth, how can there be the understanding that now it is what we have heard? For example, Manasikara, it's there all the time with each chitta. But now I'm thinking, I'm considering, so on. That's why Buddha pointed out what is there in life which can be known, because it's there. So his words is about the understanding of what is there to be known. Otherwise, no one can understand what is there at all. Like Vitakka, or Manasikara, or Ekakata Citasika, and so on. No one at all. Manasikara is no one. Ekakata Citasika is no one. Everything. No one at all. No thing at all. Because it is conditioned to arise and then gone. Who can change? So this life is just a kind of dreaming of this life. And after it's gone, next life, no thought about this life. Thinking just about what is there in the new life. Again and again and again. So we can talk about what is there in life to understand as much as we can understand the truth which is there now.
And the truth is that there is a lot of loba now. So often when it comes to studying the Dhamma, like the details you mentioned, the loba is taken for understanding or wise considering. And we know that as we read, the proximate condition for loba is enjoying things, leading to bondage. So like you say, the loba is always interested to find out more, to study the details which don't appear at all, instead of just understanding what does appear now. So it was helpful when you mentioned about that, how you're just interested to understand the truth about this moment, not interested in finding out the details or working out the story about those realities, because often that's what happens. Loba just follows on, trying to find out more about this detail and this meaning and this word and this term, and this complete forgetting about the understanding what appears now. So I think it's a good topic.
And thank you. Sorry, I've got COVID, so among other things. Thank you for bringing that up, Sarah. Yes, getting bogged down.
So what appears now?
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you, Achan, for pointing it out also.
I think when it's not pointed out, it just leads to more and more thinking it's right. It's there's value in it.
Yeah.
More and more of the same.
Mm.
Yeah, because you can go a long
And
way.
there's not many people that will point that out to us.
Right.
Mm.
So we're reminded so often listening to Ajahn that, what is the purpose of what we're doing, what we're listening to?
Invaluable, isn't it?
For sure. Yeah, I appreciate
Otherwise it is just more and more getting stuck with loba, thinking it's something useful, but actually
That's
it's
right.
just getting
more and more accumulations in the wrong direction.
On the other end, there is also the loba, which is the condition which is accumulated and is conditioned to arise even after hearing the teachings. So it's we have also actually we don't have to do anything. We also realize the second noble truth, which is conditioned and it's there and it's unknown and it has to be known as not me and not and nobody which means it has to be known. It means that it doesn't mean like doing something with loba. It means not doing it because of knowing it. Okay, and yeah. Also, I think it's also as also Sarah often says, there's loba or most of there's loba so often in a day, which we don't know, and which we and which is bound to be there because it's the way it is, and that's me. That's most of the most of us. For most of us, it's like that, and that's the truth. I think there's no way to change the truth, but understanding it.
And that attachment can be so subtle. So it's usually the subtle attachment's not known, but when it's a little stronger, like even now when trying to find out the meaning of a word or a term, it can be known because it appears at those moments.
Well, I suppose there's loba when any question is asked here or a comment is made. I think it's the norm, isn't it, for the putujana, for there to be loba. So I'm not. It's not as though it's only when certain questions arise that there's loba all the time.
I think Ajahn said...
and John's just some irritation when the question is not answered the way you think it should be.
Yeah, that's the norm too.
Yeah.
Because of the loba.
Yeah.
Hi, Jonathan and Sarah. Why do you say that it's loba? How I think it's more like chanda, desire to know, and not necessarily loba.
If one's irritated, it's because of not getting what one wants. So that is conditioned by loba. If one doesn't get the answer one would like to hear, then for sure loba is behind it. But there is chanda, this kusala chanda or akusala chanda when there's understanding and wise considering. There's kusala chanda in the topic, but when it's loba, just being fixated on finding the meaning of a term, for example, then it's loba with akusala chanda, so interested in that. And Ajahn made a comment earlier, which I thought was helpful, which was to the effect of when there's no understanding of what appears now, there's interest, always interest in other topics like politics or medicine, I think she gave as examples, or trying to find out what the book says about this or that, or what the term is, or what the detail is. So that interest is there with loba at those moments when there's no understanding of what appears now. So I find it helpful because I think we all know that it's true. And I also thought her comments at the start were helpful, that when she reads words in the Tipitaka, if there's understanding of the meaning, this is what is helpful. But if one just tries to go deeper and deeper to think about the meaning or what the commentary says about it, and thinks over and over again, it is again and again about it. Again, it's driven by the lobha and that akusala chanda, not by understanding what appears now. So it's not trying to have more understanding of the word, but just understanding what appears. And as she mentioned, this is how she lives. It's such a good example. So if we open the book and there is some meaning or help, just like in the discussion, then there can be wise considering. But when one's just trying to find out, trying to calculate what exactly is said in detail, then one forgets all about what appears right now. And this is the bondage, or the sticking like the meat in the pan again.
But if you say so, yeah, we cannot do anything. It's our wholesome desire which leads us to understand Dhamma. And if you say that, there are lots of aksara, lobha in studying Dhamma, yeah, then one get afraid of studying Dhamma. We have a faith in Dhamma, and our faith which tells us that studying Dhamma is wholesome deeds. And if lots of aksara elements in studying Dhamma, I'm rather afraid of studying Dhamma.
Is being afraid kusala or akusala? So I think we have to consider what is meant by studying Dhamma. This is the real point, because if there is studying the meaning or the term or the details with lobha, is that studying Dhamma? If it is just lobha being accumulated, is that what is meant by studying Dhamma? Or does studying Dhamma mean understanding a little more about what appears now as taught by the Buddha? So I think it's better to know, better to appreciate and understand the lobha when it appears, than to kid oneself that all the book study or discussion study is all kusala, when actually lobha is round the corner all the time, lurking there, ready to cling at any moment. Better to know. And it's all anatta. So it's not about not picking up the book or picking up the book or reading this or not reading that, because each moment, each chitta, each cetasika, each rupa is conditioned. So it's about understanding, not setting rules.
I think in this particular case, the question is one that's fairly fundamental to our interest in the Dhamma, because there are only two kinds of realities, nama and rupa. And the characteristic of nama, that is common to all nama, is that they bend towards an object, which can be appreciated. And the characteristic of all rupas is that they are subject to being molested. And it's that characteristic of rupas generally that Azita's question refers to. Now, in our discussion, we say that nama experiences an object and rupa is that which does not experience an object. And that is a very helpful way of putting it. But actually what the text seems to say is that rupa is that which is molested. And so I think it's a fundamental question, but it's fairly fundamental to our study of the Dhamma.
First, molested is awful translation. Rupati means to become ruined. It's an intransitive verb. And nama. Namati is to incline to the object. So better not use molested.
Sorry, what was the term that you used today? I didn't quite catch it.
Rupati is an intransitive verb, which means to become ruined, to decay.
Ruined, yes, destroyed.
Yes.
I've seen
It's
destroyed
not
as
destroyed. It's an intransitive verb, so it becomes decayed. It's
Right.
the nature of nama, rupa. And nama, in the case of nama, it's nameti, which inclined to object.
right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of clear enough, but
Yeah. Going back to the original topic, to my understanding, having one moment of kusala is studying Dhamma. Having one moment of kusala is far, far precious than having 10 or 100 moments of aksara. So we cannot be afraid of having aksara. We have to be driven by our desire to understand Dhamma. It may involve a lot of aksaras, but eventually we know these are aksaras motivated by our notion of self. So I don't know. It's a good idea to say that there are lots of aksaras in studying Dhamma. I do not see any benefit of saying that.
well, if it's the position, if it's the situation, if it reflects the reality, then it needs to be acknowledged, I think. So I agree that chanda is a factor in our pursuit of understanding of the Dhamma, but it doesn't have to be kusala chanda all the time. It can't be, because there is only so much kusala that arises, even though the subject matter is the Dhamma. The fact that it's interest in the Dhamma doesn't mean it's only kusala involved. So I think chanda, but very mixed chanda, some kusala and much akusala. And I don't see any harm in acknowledging that.
Eventually, Panya will tell a person how much aksara is involved in pursuing the study of Dhamma, but
Yes.
it shouldn't be emphasized. We have
No,
to
it
do.
doesn't.
We are Putthajanas. We have lots of aksaras, but there should be some kind of acknowledgement that our endeavor is pure. Pure in the sense of pure at the level of Puthujana. We cannot help.
Right.
And we cannot help to have desire, to have chanda. It may be aksara, but we cannot help us not to have chanda. I think it's very precious.
Yes.
Nothing can be helped, whatever arises is conditioned, but better know the truth as it is, because what is pure lasts for a moment only and then is gone completely.
Isn't it the case, though, that with the growth of Panya, there can be noticing of the difference between kusala chanda and akusala chanda, not necessarily at the moment of, but isn't that how it develops?
And most helpful from the start is understanding that whether it's kusala or akusala chanda now,
It's just there.
they're dharmas, they're anatta, not my wholesome
Right.
interest or my unwholesome interest
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
found or worked out. It's just different kinds of dharma arising and falling away, but better to appreciate there's much more loba
Oh, for sure.
than kusala, much more akusala chanda than kusala chanda. And Panya, as you say, can begin to understand what it is when it appears, not just by thinking about it, but when it appears.
Yes.
I think it's nothing wrong to assume that studying Dhamma is a wholesome deed, and it may be very naive notion, but I think it is a very strong motivation of studying Dhamma. So, whether not to say so much about involvement of aksara, eventually Panya will tell you that there are lots of aksara moments, but the important thing is our basic attitude of studying Dhamma is of kusala.
On the other hand, to appreciate that it's not all kusala, is not necessarily a discouragement from studying Dhamma, just a reflection of one's interest in the truth, knowing the truth about the present moment reality. As you say, it's an assumption on our part, because the kusala and akusala are not directly known as such. But I think the safer assumption is that it's mixed chanda. As far as the ratio of kusala to akusala is concerned, I don't think it really matters. But just to know that it's mixed, it's okay.
I myself study Dhamma based on the notion that it is the wholesome deed. And eventually Panya will tell me that there are lots of involvement of aksara moments, but it doesn't bother me. It's the function Panya. It's not my sort of endeavor or desire. So let Panya do its work, is my attitude. But my point is that don't emphasize so much on akusala moments. It discourages me.
But it's loba Dhamma. Or it's my loba Dhamma.
That's a question for you, Tadao.
I do not want to answer it. Because there are lots of lobas and lots of aksaras. But studying Dhamma is a precious moment. We have to cherish these moments. We have to cherish our desire to study Dhamma.
If there is understanding of loba now, is that not studying Dhamma? For example, when you mention a wholesome deed, what is a wholesome deed? Because is there anything other than citta, cetasika, and rupa? Like if we talk about sitting in a Zoom discussion for 1 hour, this is just an idea. Actually, there's just different cittas and cetasikas and rupas arising and falling away, as we all know. So studying Dhamma means studying the loba, which appears now, the seeing now, the hearing now, hardness that is experienced now. This is what is the studying of Dhamma, surely.
Of
Otherwise,
course,
we think of a situation again, like opening the book or turning on the recording, but actually life is just at a moment. Different vipaka, citas, kusala, akusala, changing all the time, arising and falling away all the time.
Tadao, you mentioned it can be discouraged. You can feel discouragement when there, then there's a lot of talk about the akusala that's arising even during listening to Dhamma discussions or just speaking in them. But it's that, as you know, it arises by conditions, and it's not self. But I think as soon as we start feeling that way, it's just another. It's an indication of the lack of understanding at those moments, as in most moments in the day, but the lack of understanding and taking it for self. I feel discouraged, and that's it's useful to know that, or to think about that. Even though it may not be pleasant. That's another indicator.
I have a very naive idea. That is, dana, sila, bhavana are wholesome. And so studying Dhamma and practicing Dhamma are wholesome deeds. So that is the basic notion, which is a faith. And it's I can say 100% of my life studying Dhamma. And other than studying Dhamma, there is nothing left in my life. So I cannot say that what I'm doing is unwholesome. I don't want to say that. If unwholesomeness should be seen, it should be seen by Panya, which I may eventually have, but I don't emphasize in saying that many things we do in studying Dhamma and practicing Dhamma are unwholesome. I don't want to use that term to discourage my life. Because other than Dhamma, my life is nothing. I have no friends, no relatives, no nothing. But Dhamma is my sarana. And in that sense, I don't want to say there are so many apsaras in doing what I'm doing.
I think there are so many akusalas in whatever it is we're doing. But as Jonathan was saying, we make assumptions that there is some kusala involved in studying the Dhamma. It's mixed. It's mixed, but I would, kusala and akusala can be found anywhere, regardless of what one is doing, because doing is it's a situation.
And I think the question comes back to what is there now? Because now there's seeing, there's hearing, there's pleasant feeling, moments of unpleasant feeling, moments of liking what one hears, moments of considering wisely, moments of boredom or feeling disturbed. So this is daily life, and letting go of the burden means just understanding that there are different dharmas, each one anatta, arising and falling away by conditions. And I think it's very inspiring or encouraging to understand about the truth, to let go of that clinging to self just a little bit. So it comes back to this moment. When there's seeing, is that studying Dhamma? When there's being disturbed, is that studying Dhamma? When one's enjoying the company, is that studying Dhamma? So which moment is studying Dhamma? Only the moments of understanding a little bit more about the truth now. I think it's time for Ajahn to add more comments if she would like to.
Quinta, what would you like to talk about now?
Realities of this moment.
Okay, is it there now?
Oh, yes.
Is there any understanding of it?
Not so much.
What is meant by studying? No understanding or what?
Studying realities. But studying realities needs some support, and certain support is sort of palliative.
It's there now. How can there be the understanding of it?
Eventually, it's a slow process.
No, I mean that now there is a reality in a moment. How can there be the understanding of that as no one and no thing? Because the truth is that it's just a reality, one at a time.
Yeah, but one cannot force oneself to see realities. Realities appear when they appear.
Can there be any understanding of it? Little by little, stage by stage.
Little by little, but not so much.
Okay, what about a little now?
Yep.
There is a reality right now, and there can be understanding little by little. And what is the understanding of what is there now? Little. Very little.
Very little. They are so-called Dhamma and so-called Rupa.
The name or the characteristic of just one reality at a time.
Yeah. There shouldn't be any words in.
Okay, one now, please.
So sound is a Rupa.
If you don't use the term rupa, is it then sound?
Yeah.
So do we have to say out, it's a rupa? Or sound is just sound?
No, there shouldn't be any words. No, if there are words, we cannot see realities because words induce the notion of self.
But even we don't use any word at all, is it there?
Luckily, there will be moments of realities.
What is there without word now?
Yeah.
Even we don't think about it or use any word.
Yeah, so-called realities.
What is there? Just one reality.
Sound.
Sound. What condition it's arising?
I do not see conditions for arising of sound. Yeah. Only I can, or I perceive is sort of occurrence of sound, but I cannot see hearing. Hearing does not appear to me.
Hearing is a reality and sound is a reality. Can hearing condition sound to arise?
Yeah, it should be.
Impossible. This is the understanding of what is there in life. Study it in order to understand the truth that is conditioned, no one there at all. So the question is whether hearing conditions sound.
No. The occurrence of hearing and sound conditions what we think hearing of the sound.
We think, but what is the truth? Can we think of the truth by oneself? Just think about it and think that it's real according to our thought. But in truth, what is hearing and what is sound? Are they different? To understand the moment of hearing. Otherwise, we just think about it's Dhamma and it's Rupa. But what is that at that very moment, as we have heard a lot about hearing is Dhamma and sound is Rupa?
But a
This
problem,
is the study of Dhamma, because Dhamma is hearing, seeing, so on.
but problem is that we are not mature enough to see the difference between Nama and Rupa. They are not.
That is thinking, but we have to understand the truth of each moment. At the moment of hearing, can hearing condition sound to arise?
No, we need both hearing and sound.
So what is the difference between hearing and sound? It's easy to say the word, but what is the truth? What is hearing and what is sound?
It's our problem. It's my problem. I can't differentiate these two.
I think that you heard a lot about Nama and Rupa, right?
No, they're just words. They're still words. Not
yes, but it
there.
represents a reality, or it just word without any reality at all.
Not yet.
So just a little more understanding in order to let go ignorance and attachment, right?
Yes.
So there is hearing now.
Yeah.
Who knows that there is also attachment to hearing? As I hear, no matter what is there, it's something or I all the time in life. And what is the truth? The absolute truth, the ultimate truth. Can hearing be sound? Very simple question, it sounds, but in truth, it's the moment of developing understanding of what is there. Yes. Otherwise, we think a lot about the story. But what about the story about now?
Yeah.
So, hearing and sound.
Yes.
And hearing conditioned sound to arise. This is studying.
Yes.
Considering.
Yeah.
Wisely.
Yeah, yoniso manasikara.
No. The question is about, can hearing conditioned sound to arise?
I don't know whether it's a proper statement or not. That
No, it's not studying Dhamma at all.
No. What I want to say is that at least we need both hearing and sound, so that
okay.
So hearing.
But the question is just, can hearing condition sound to arise? This is a beginning, is to be truthful to the truth, little by little, to begin to understand what is there as no sound, no one and no thing, no sound. Otherwise, I hear for sure, because no one there at all. And it hears, so it's me who hear. But in truth, nothing can belong to anyone. It cannot be anything. It's just, it is as it is. So the question, it sounds very simple. Can hearing conditioned sound to arise.
But we can also say that sound conditions to hearing to arise, for hearing to arise. It's
That
not,
is thinking. There are many sounds in the forest. It doesn't condition hearing to arise at all.
yeah,
So sound itself, just a sound, can it condition hearing to arise? This is the beginning to understand even just one moment of hearing, as it is, to understand that they cannot be taken for anything at all. Sound is sound and hearing is hearing. No matter what question is about it, understand firmly of the truth. When there is the studying, understanding the truth of what is there. So again, please, never change. Can hearing condition sound to arise?
yeah.
Impossible.
Why?
Sound in the forest, can it condition hearing to arise?
But if there were no sound, then there
There
is
is, but whenever something is fresh, there is sound, right?
Yeah.
So when sound arises, can it condition hearing to arise?
if there are reality, which is called hearing, then hearing.
But the question is, whether can sound condition hearing to arise? Understanding begins to understand no matter what is there, even just little as it is, to have firm understanding of the truth.
I think Tadao Ajan's question is, can sound, just sound on its own, condition hearing to arise? Sorry for butting in, Ajan. Thank you.
No, Jonathan. If you say so, then we can also say that we can also ask whether hearing arises by itself without sound.
So Ajan would like to know your answer to the question. She's asking a question for your consideration. And having thought about it, is the answer yes or no?
To me, it's more like a mutual interaction.
Yes, but Ajan's not asking for your view of things at the moment. She's just taking it step by step. And the first step is this. Can sound on its own, just sound, condition hearing to arise?
No. Not by itself.
So, what is sound?
It's a type of rupa, audible rupa.
You use the term rupa. What is it?
It's a reality which doesn't know itself.
You mean it cannot hear, it cannot think, it cannot experience anything, right?
Mm. Yes.
Can it be heard?
Yeah, it's audible. It can be heard.
What hears it?
We need hearing.
So at moment of hearing, what is there appearing?
What appears at that moment is the sound or sound.
Okay. Is it music? Sound of music?
No.
Pop?
It's when we perceive that sound is a music or something to do with the traffic, then it's a phenomenon of the mind doorway.
So just sound itself. Can it be anything else?
It can be pure sound if one if one has a very high level of panya, then it could be just sound, nothing else.
When a sound is heard, do you know what that sound is?
No, we do not see, or at least I do not see sound as a sound. I do not have such a high level of panya. What I
So sound is just a reality. It's just sound, right? Never change.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what about hearing?
Hearing is also very difficult.
Is there hearing now?
Yeah, there's hearing, but there's always a notion of self who is listening.
Are we talking about hearing?
Yeah.
Only hearing.
No, I cannot have just hearing. I don't have such panya. Or what I have is the notion that I'm listening, I'm hearing.
Is there I?
Yeah, I is there.
What is I?
I is there. Unfortunately, I
Yes,
is,
but what is it? It's there, but what is it?
it's a notion, it's a notion, it's a notion.
Is it true? Is it real? Is it a reality?
Yeah, it's probably it's a mere illusion, but always I'm listening. Now,
In truth. In truth.
in truth, there shouldn't be any I. There shouldn't be any self. But
In truth, only hearing hears sound.
Yeah, exactly.
So hearing is I, or no I, not I at all.
In Abhidhamma time, hearing is
No, in truth.
No, in truth, in reality, there is I, there is self who is listening.
Without hearing, can there be I hear?
No.
So in truth, what is hearing?
Hearing hears. That's it. Nothing else.
But no one knows about it. That's why we learn to understand what is hearing.
Exactly.
So what is it?
Hearing here. Hearing.
To be truthful to each word of truth,
Yeah.
Ananda, reality, Dhamma, hearing, sound, see, they're there in life. But what about the understanding developed on and on, little by little, to understand the truth that hearing is just hearing and sound is just sound. Whatever is there is only a reality conditioned to arise and fall away instantly. This is the subtle way to let go the idea of self until it is completely, absolutely eradicated. Not any time in life, at moment of eating, seeing, hearing, laughing, crying, so on. Is that true?
Exactly.
No one there. But now it's still I. That's why the understanding is not enough to let go, because no understanding of each reality clearly as it is, to let go the idea of I is there.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, can you condition sound to arise?
I don't do anything. Just sound arises, hearing arises.
It's a condition for sound to arise.
And I cannot see the difference between hearing and sound.
Yeah. The question is there any conditions to condition sound to arise?
Oh, it needs hearing. Sound, the sound which arises by itself without no hearing is not concern of Buddhism. We are not in.
No, no matter it's heard or not, sound is sound. When there are conditions for its arising, it arises. Is that true?
Yes, yes, yes.
So what conditions sound to arise? Is there any condition? Or no condition at all?
Our concern the sound which arises together with hearing.
Why do we talk about all this? In order just to understand little by little, to let go the idea of I hear or my sound, my voice.
I cannot help. It's
No, do. Understanding understands. It's the function of understanding to let go wrong understanding and ignorance because it understands.
if I have such understanding which indicate that I've developed Nama Rupa Paricaya Jnana.
That's why we talk just one reality at a time to understand the truth that no one can change it at all. It cannot be I. It cannot be anything. Sound is sound. Hearing is hearing. Seeing is seeing. What is seen is what is seen. No one there at all. To begin to understand from considering the truth, to be truthful to the truth. Otherwise, the truth now cannot be known at all, even if it's true.
Yeah, I understand what you are saying, but I understand with my brain, not with my panya.
You still do not know what brain is, right?
Yeah,
That's
with
the
my mind.
point, the
Yeah.
value of understanding the truth little by little. Otherwise, we live in the dream world or in one's life, and they start dreaming again and again and again of what is there by oneself, not by understanding the truth. To let go wrong understanding, taking what is there as I, a thing. And this is a point of studying. At moment of realizing how much ignorance from age to age and from birth up to now, add more and more and more and more clinging and attachment. But the truth is that Buddha enlightened the absolute truth of what is there now as it is. That's why we learn to consider the word we heard from the Buddha about what is there now to understand, beginning to understand the truth intellectually. But when it doesn't appear clear as it is, it cannot let go the idea of self at all, because the idea of self is so very firm, very thick, very strong, accumulated in life and life and life and life. From this life, it will condition ignorance and attachment on what is there in the future, on and on, endlessly, when there's no understanding of the Four Noble Truths. That's why it takes time, and that is parami. What is meant by parami? It cannot be suddenly known, realized at once as one heard about it, but time to understand, because in life no such word at all is heard. That's why for the newcomer, no idea at all. Just begin to understand what is there in life, what is true in life, what is the truth of it, little by little. Even we learn a lot from the text, but not the moment of understanding the truth which has been studied. That's why learn to understand, and understanding works its way to get closer and closer to understand what is there now. Otherwise, is there without understanding forever. That is the meaning of parami, viriya parami. Are you courage now?
I know that it's Sila Kala Bhavana.
The word, what is bhavana?
But just seeing sound as sound, hearing as hearing, hearing as a mere hearing. It's not easy at all.
That's why it takes time, so long, beyond expectation, how long it is. It depends on a moment of understanding the truth only. That's why it begins with samadhi as the path beginning to understand little by little what is there. Because it hasn't been known for quite a long, long time. And the idea of self is quite strong. And so how can it be less? Without understanding, it's impossible to let go any wrong understanding at all. That's why patience, viriya, and confidence, and nikama, everything there is the point, is the aim of understanding how much ignorance of life, and it can be letting go little by little when there is understanding. So it depends on how much understanding of what is there now that can let go gradually the idea of self and thinking, no one. But there is a reality conditioned arising and falling away all the time. What's the use? And is this true? Is the beginning to understand what is the point of seeing, hearing in a day, liking, and then gone instantly all the time, adding more influence and attachment and condition for life to begin again and again non-stop. Not tiring yet because not enough understanding. Why? Because as soon as there's something seen, attachment, pleasant feeling is there. Or anger, it depends. Whatever is real. If you don't study the characteristic of each one, how can it be known as it's different? No one with such experiences. It's only the reality which is conditioned to experience what is there in split second and then gone. Who knows? So Buddha thought about one chitta at a time to be considered that it's different from moment to moment. Even the moment of birth, just one moment. And what conditions? Well, it's not ended. There is another reality followed instantly. No one can do anything at all, no idea at all. It's there by itself, by conditions. Who can stop condition for what arises now? Impossible, because it has arisen already. So can there be anyone who can do anything? Or just that which is ignorance and attachment from moment to moment, by this way or by that way, by conditions. So understanding only is the path to understand the truth. Without understanding the truth, how can it be letting go? It's there. Ignorance, taking it for something, dreaming about it non-stop. At night or day, it's there, dreaming. Different by the moment of hearing or without moment of hearing. It's still there. That's why it's not I who think or I consider or I understand or I think that it's that way or that way. It's only thinking, rightly or wrongly, by conditions. So sorry, it's time now. Swadika.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.